Hey guys, and welcome back to all of you crazy legends. I've received some very nice feedback on my previous videos, so I'm really happy and thankful for that. But today we are going to be taking a look at one of the best Super Bowler players in High Legends. It is, of course, Satoru. He was kind enough to let me record some of his hits, and he's currently in top 200. He combines Super Bowlers with the newly surfaced Rocket Backpack and Giant Arrow trick, and he gets amazing results. So without waiting any longer, let's go dive into his hits. For this first replay, we have this sort of box base from Igor. And I do want to be honest with you guys, because I think Super Bowlers is probably one of the attacks that I'm not too familiar with. At least not from the part of, like, what should you be aiming for, what should you be getting your different parts of the attack to achieve. We're just gonna dive into it. Starting off with, of course, the Dragon Juke. We're going to be setting up that trick, but first of all, what I've seen a few times, what I found pretty interesting, is the way that he tries to get a little bit more defense value with the use of those invis spells. Probably also lining up his Dragon Juke even better when it shoots across the base like that. Gonna hit all the targets that he's looking for, and there comes Giant Arrow to follow that up. That way we have actually already gutted the core pretty badly. And now we get those Super Bowlers moving in. Dragon Juke still going strong on the side. Early Warden ability, but of course we are going into a pretty heavy DPS area. Carnal's already fallen. We already got so much down. King with the stick horse. Of course, having that core gutted so nicely is going to help massively with troop pathing. So right now with the overgrowth, we're going to focus in on that heavy DPS area at the back as well with the Revenge Tower. That's going to be ramping up throughout the attack, of course, and that's going to just allow us to focus on those areas that we need to focus on one by one rather than taking it on everything. And with those Super Bowlers, they are just really strong. They're pretty high HP, I think, but we can check that in a bit. But all in all, it is just going to provide such a great pathing throughout the entire base. And just like that, you can also see that the attack was pretty quick, because I believe it was like a 1 minute 45 second attack, and it's nearly done already. Just a little bit of cleanup. And there we go. Very nice first hit. For this second base, we have a very, I would dare to say, legend-esque base. It's a base that's got a bunch of basically non-compartments, and then one big one with a bunch of layers of walls around the town hall. Got a very heavy packed core. You can see with all the defending heroes, the CC, bunch of heavy hitting defenses, and a bunch of, well, maybe fireball value, maybe Giant Arrow plus Rocket Backpack value. But of course we know that Satoru is going to be picking the latter. So let's just see what he does with this one. Maybe starting off with, again, that little invis trick to make sure that the Dragon Juke gets that value that he's looking for. Oh geez, so many Seeking Our Minds. And there he goes, shooting across the base. Earthquakes are down, getting CC, getting one of the scatter shots, getting a multi-inferno, getting the lava launcher. Now we're going to be setting up those bowlers. Big horse and a giant gauntlet on the king. Giant Arrow and action figure on the queen. Heroic Torch and Eternal Tome on the Warden, so no Rage Gem. And then of course Fireheart and Dragon or Rocket Backpack on the Dragon Juke. We're moving into the big heavy core of this base. Getting the Dragon Juke to be revived, and letting him take out the town hall and the area around it. Of course, with the heavy defense in the Revenge Tower right there, it's gonna be pretty hard. Of course, we have those totem spells to help with that. And there goes the town hall. In the meantime, some troops making their way through with the walls. And in the meantime, also the bowlers and the other heroes being OP and getting through the rest of the base. Now again, just some cleanup that's left on the bottom side of this base. And again, a very, very quick attack. It seems like this is probably one of the quicker attacks out there right now. Of course, those bowler bounces, as we can call them, very, very handy, especially on these pack bases. And for replay number 3, we have a little more traditional base again. And of course, one thing that I do want to mention real quick is the fact that Satoru is using 2 accounts in Legends. That's why you can see that replay 1 and 3 are going to be from one of the accounts, and then replay 2 was from another account. But in this case, I also always try and sort of challenge myself to see where I would expect the giant arrow and the rocket backpack to come through. I'm currently looking at basically this little area, because that would mean for me a little bit of value. But let's just see what he does, because of course only he knows, and we'll know in a second or a few. Right, there comes the Dragon Duke again. And again with the Invis spells. Great value already. 1 Invis spell to get him to take out the monolith. And there it goes. Flies across the base and indeed into the area where I thought he would go. Giant arrow to clean off that mess. To seal the deal there. I do realize that the Dragon Duke generally is going to be left on his own a little bit. And then the Queen is going to be setting one part of the funnel for the bowlers. And King is going to come in with the Stick Horse and the Giant Gauntlet. And we have a Baby Drag to set the other part of the funnel for the bowlers. And we activate the Warden ability. King is going to even be tasked getting the Town Hall. And there he goes. Queen wanted to help out for a sec, but sort of did it in her own queen way. And then now the bowlers are going to be moving along that bottom side of the base. I'm going to make their way up the left side. For some reason, when I say 9, 6, 12, and 3, it always makes sense in my head. But then when I try and say left, right, something just doesn't work out. But again, using that overgrowth to great effect to predict and to make the pathing for the bowlers a lot smoother. It might lead to some interesting situations at some points, but generally if you do it right, works out in your favor rather than surprising you with the way the troops go. And in here it seems to also just be him guiding the troops and not the other way around. And this bowler bounce is just too OP. Because of course the giant arrow plus rocket backpack trick does a little bit. Ooh, nice. I like the swag points, 2 totem spells and a skeleton spell. But as I was saying, the rocket backpack and giant arrow do a little bit. But then the super bowlers do the rest, and that's by far the biggest part. And that is gonna do it for the super bowler hits from Satoru. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like down below. Feel free to comment, and if you really enjoyed the show, you want to keep supporting me, you want to keep being informed when the new videos come out, please do consider subscribing. One thing that I do want to mention though is that, of course, as you can probably see by now, is that I've switched back to a different overlay. I've got some feedback from a few people that they they would like it better if the actual game screen and the footage was a little bigger. So I figured, well, let's just switch back. But for now, that is going to wrap up this video. If you enjoyed it, well, I already said that, of course. And if you have any suggestions for videos or things you want to see in different new videos, let me know. But for now, guys, see ya. Peace.